Hi, I'm Alexandra May Hunter, and I'm from Mesa, Arizona.
Okay, Mrs. May Hunter, exactly what do you think about what happened today here in Mojave County building with the ADQ and Senator Ward? What is your feedback?
My feedback is that the attorneys were there to tell people that they do not have the jurisdiction to attempt to take a look at this issue, and nothing could be further from the truth. In my statement, I cited the Arizona law. The fact of the matter is that airplanes that are aerosol spraying us do sit on tarmacs, most likely on military Air Force bases here in Arizona. They have jurisdiction, the ADEQ, over any generator or source of air pollution that is within their bailiwick, that is within their jurisdiction. I am hoping that they will think a little bit longer and hard about their propaganda standard responses that they've listed on their website. We do have remedies here. Attorney General Tom Horn, who is the highest legal authority in the state of Arizona, actually is the attorney that is in charge of the ADEQ. The Attorney General, I'm hoping we can get with him and get him educated so that he can force this through the jurisprudence system, or that he can advise the ADEQ to investigate. In my opinion, what has to happen here is that an investigation has to happen of the airplanes, an inspection of the jets, not only by government officials, but also a citizen advisory board so that we know it is unbiased. This has to be investigated. The testing needs to be done. They clearly are not doing the testing, and if they are doing the testing, most likely they do not have the instrumentation calibrated to measure nano-sized particulates.
One question, before even we go to the geoengineering and of course weather modification and the airplanes. We tested already here in Mojave County in the last few years at least let's say a dozen of people that we did blood tests, and 90% of us came back with the barium level at least 800 or 1,000 above the maximum. And this is not just our opinion, but this is about according to the medical doctor that pretty much gave us a prescribed this blood test. Now, I believe that the ADQ or the state of Arizona, even if they claim they have no jurisdiction over anything coming from the sky, I think it's their duty to investigate what is the source of this barium in our blood. What do you think about that?
You are correct. And when a governmental agency, as I stated in my statement, is presented with new evidence, it is their duty and affirmative obligation under the law to pursue investigations. Today, they were given some new information. I've provided Senator Kelly Ward with a very voluminous packet of documents. She knows that Dr. Russell Blaylock, who is a renowned American neurosurgeon, medical researcher who's completely researched the chemical effects of the geoengineering, as well as being a former military medical doctor, Russell Blaylock has actually studied this very issue, and he is on the record stating it is real and it is happening. So when the legislators and the agencies are given new information, they cannot just stick with a standard statement. Times change, facts change, circumstances change, and when those things change, they're here to work for us, and they have to investigate it. If they don't investigate it, then it's malfeasance of their duties.
Exactly. And another thing, I found very humiliating for us, or at least they tried to treat us like a bunch of children and kids, when a person paid by our tax dollar, like Mark Schaefer, that I think is the director of this branch of the ADQ, in a statement admitted that geoengineering and weather modification does not exist. And then I was able to find just a regular person directly on the Arizona website, the Arizona government website, state website, a way to download a permit that I can apply for weather modification for just $100. So what do you think about that? You think the person is just ignorant, maybe needs to be helped, or maybe there is an agenda behind?
It could be a combination of both. If he is ignorant, he needs to be educated. There are geoengineering programs happening all over the globe. The United Nations, by the way, in case you didn't know this, has all over the planet global monitoring systems for aerosols, and they're called aerosol monitoring stations. The more research people do to understand that this program has been very long-winded, it has been discussed between governments, between universities, between military-industrial complex contractors. The documents are there, and they are on public record. So I would say to him, I don't know him personally. He's making a blanket statement, but again, when he's provided with new evidence, such as what I stated today, that the airplanes that are emitting these persistent chemical trails are not coming from jet engines. And even if they were, today's jet engines are all high bypass turbofan jet engines that are incapable of emitting, quote, contrails, unquote. So he has a talking point that he's been given, as are quite a few politicians, the media, that is factually incorrect. My job as a legal practitioner and a businesswoman is always to analyze and give facts, to present facts, to analyze everything and not have an opinion. So I've just spent the last 2.5 years of my life investigating this and getting to the bottom of what actually is the history of the programs, how long has it been contemplated, and I have come to the conclusion, because there is a mountain of evidence available, that this is in full force and effect. And as I stated, scientific methodology vis-a-vis observation is one of the methods that scientists use. Millions of people are observing on a daily basis in all their areas, not just up here in Kingman, Arizona, but all over the state of Arizona. In fact, all over the United States and all over the planet are observing these airplanes. And we're being harmed. The government is now put on legal notice. As I stated, they received from myself actual legal notice that I do not consent. There's a law that's called 50 U.S.C. 1520A that allows for experimentation under certain circumstances, except for peaceful means or purposes. No reasonable person would ever construe the dumping of chemicals for whatever their reasons are as peaceful. It is a hostile act of aggression, and we are being harmed. It's real and it's happening. People need to research this by going to geoengineeringwatch.org, the Agriculture Defense Coalition.com, California Skywatch, StopSprayingAZ.org. There's a host of websites that give fact-based information, and people need to educate themselves because we're all being harmed.
And also, another thing, it's so easy to find out. I mean, weather modification is on the open. There are companies out there that you can hire. For example, I was able to talk over the phone for a few minutes with Weather Modification Incorporated out of North Dakota, operating since 1961 according to the website. And exactly, they're just repeating what you're saying. This is a program that can also be used not just by the military or by the government, but by any private or company. And there is one element that they mention is silver iodide. That they say that they do not use barium, according to their PR person over the phone. But they admit that silver iodide is a factual thing that I have on record, according to the person, and also their website. Now, the last time I checked, EPA classifies silver iodide like a pollutant class C. It's highly dangerous for human, animals, and environment.
That is correct. So, it is a toxic chemical. So whether it's silver iodide, barium, aluminum, strontium, lead, titanium, the chemical constituents are toxic to human life and to the ecosystem. For whatever reasons, the government decided to undertake this program. They're calling it climate change. Luca, what is really going on here is Hegelian dialect. It's problem, action, or reaction and solution. That is what is happening here. They've created a madcap science experiment, and we are the collateral damage. So we have to stand up and say that we are entitled to clean air, water, and food. And the airplanes that are spraying these toxic nano-sized chemicals, particulates, are harming our food supply, our water, and our air. And if you turn around right now, sir, and you look up in the sky, right over here, there's one of your guys right there spraying it as we speak. It's in plain sight. We do not consent. It is a covert operation.
Question is,
and we want it to end.
You brought facts, you brought legislation, you brought all evidence about this phenomenon or program called geoengineering, weather modification, that we don't really know why they're doing it. They may tell us something now. But what do you think really, according to all your information and researches you did, what is your opinion? Because now we're going to the realm of the opinions, okay? We prove facts. Something's happening. They're dumping metals in the environment from airplanes, okay? This program to modify the weather. But there is more, in my opinion, than just modifying the weather. What do you think really could be? I mean, what are the reasons?
I would say that it's probably a military defense system that they're using it for. Probably for, if you can control the weather, you can control the planet, which comes out of one of their own documents. Pursuant to some of the people that are backing this, like Bill Gates, who's paid millions of dollars to the two primary geoengineers, who are Ken Caldera and David Keith. They've been paid millions of dollars. Most of these people are doing it for profit. I would say profit. For instance, the military-industrial contractors that hold the patents, that make the equipment, they're all making a lot of money on it. And most likely for the United Nations Agenda 21. And part of that agenda is, they call it sustainability as a buzzword. It appears from all my research that they're looking at eugenics and depopulation. They feel most likely that there's too many people on this planet. I never thought I would live to see the day when our own military is attacking us over the soil of our own country. I do not believe in any wars. The military-industrial complex machine, as far as all that goes, basically they go into countries for natural resources or the central banking systems to have control. I never thought I would see the day when they were doing this in the skies above the United States of America, attacking our own people. And this is military planes. They're all unmarked. They may be using some subcontractors, but down in Phoenix in the valley, I do have a very clear sight line of the air traffic. None of the commercial airliners are emitting this stuff. It's all coming from unmarked planes that are virtually impossible to identify.
And also I think, if we know for sure that there is this science called weather modification, that means they can control the environment, also the precipitation, the water. How is possible that right now, especially in the Southwest or even the West Coast, like in California, we have the biggest drought ever since probably the last 50, 60 years?
Well, controlling the weather, you control the food supply. There's going to be no food coming out of the Central Valley of California. They have no precipitation. They're running out of water there. Monsanto happens to own the anti-aluminum and anti-drought-resistant seed. So do they want to control the food supply with GMO seeds? We believe it's all connected. When you drought out, the main supplier, the state that supplies the food for the people of the United States, the Central Valley of California supplies between 25 to 40% of the fruits, nuts, and vegetables, depending on what crop you're talking about, to the people of the United States. Well, when that all dries up and only an anti-resistant, aluminum-resistant seed will grow, then you're going to control the food supply.
By the way, I did an experiment myself with zucchini seeds. I did it more than one time. I planted heirloom zucchini seeds, same dirt, same water, same sky. Heirloom zucchini seeds, all you have just the flower. And then I replanted them again, and I had GMO hybrid zucchini seeds. Same time of the year, same time growing. I had the biggest zucchini ever, and the heirloom zucchini experiment, nothing. So I don't know if maybe enough science education about it, but as just a basic empiric test, that was very disturbing. Because now if I had to rely on my survival, also my economy, to grow zucchini, I invite everybody to do this experiment. Maybe in different parts of the states may be different, but I tell you, here in Mojave County, Arizona, no organic zucchini was able to grow. Same dirt, same water.
There you are.
Same weather.
There you are. So, and again, when you control the weather and you've tainted out the soil and you've changed up the pH so that only seeds that Monsanto holds the patents for will grow, you're controlling the food supply. You're controlling the DNA of people. GMO food is very, very poisonous for people to eat. So again, it appears when you put two and two together and you look at the entire scheme that this is about a control mechanism for the powers that be. Now, on our side of this, people need to understand that there's very, very few of these people actually effectuating this operation. The power is with the people. There's more of us than there are of them. We need to take back our sovereignty, our rights to clean air and water and a food supply. So people need to become aware of it. And we're not doing it as to create fear. We're here to educate people. We come from a place of love. That is our core value. We care about human life, children, our families, even people that we have philosophical differences with. It doesn't matter what station of life you come with. We all have commonality and unity here because we're all human beings and we all breathe the air.
And you're right. And also, I believe really that whoever is in control of this conspiracy, because it's real conspiracy against us, against humanity, okay? They counting on the factor that we're going to be our own worst enemies. Because I really feel a lot of sadness when I see some fellow human beings that live next door to me, or maybe just people coming from some government work or employment, that they have this attitude and they completely want to dismiss evidence and facts and try to treat us like we are just a bunch of crazy people. That's why I really believe if we want to fight this back, first of all, we need to start to understand that probably we are the solution and we are the cause, or like we're stopping the solution to happen. Right. Because the moment that the few elite or the few individual that they control this big scheme, they realize that we're all aware and we take knowledge of all this, everything will be over. What do you think?
Right. That's correct. So my parting message to these arrogant people that are filled with hubris and no, the government would never do that, or no, you're crazy. Here's my message to these people. You are not exempt from this. You are breathing this. Get your hair tested. Get your blood levels tested. Go out and get the pH of your soil tested in your yard. Take some leaves from the trees in your yard and get some botany samples. These people have fooled themselves if they think they're exempt. They're not exempt from this. We're all breathing the air.
Just to close, how people can reach you in case you want to share some idea? Are you on Facebook or do you have a website?
I'm on Facebook, Alexandra May Hunter. And I'm also associated with a group down in the valley called Stop Spraying AZ. They have a website, stopsprayingaz.org. I sit on a global council with Dane Wigington and 8 other United States lead activists. We're running in conjunction with activists on other continents. I'm also on a board, a United States board, the Coalition United Against Geoengineering. I mentor and educate people all over the planet here to get them on board to understand what's going on. I am now here in Arizona, so I'm doing my darndest to push the envelope with either the legislative approach or possibly the judicial approach. And the awareness is really what I'm about. I'm a grandmother now, and this, as I said before, Luca, I never thought in a million years that I would be doing this at this point in my life. But when I realized the severity of this problem, I laid everything down. I've done 2.5 years of research. I would never bank my own professional credibility. My reputation precedes me. I'm dead serious about this. And I hope that people will educate themselves. Go to geoengineeringwatch.org. Go to globalskywatch.com. Go to the Agriculture Defense Coalition.com. Rosalind Peterson's website is filled with nothing but fact-based, government-issued documents and data. She's leading the way. I have the greatest admiration for her. She's the only activist person that was given a presentation in front of the United Nations in 2007 to address the ongoing geoengineering programs. And when I say programs, I use plural because there are several of these programs going on with various types of methodology. So I encourage people to educate themselves and then push the envelope with their elected officials. The elected officials are there to serve us. And if they care about their families and they can put down their arrogance and really actually do the homework and do the studying, they will see that they're not exempt. None of us are. We're all human beings and we all breathe the air.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. And this was a recorded interview that I took June the 25th. 2014 in front of the county building with Alexandra Hunter. She's an activist, she's a wonderful lady. More important, she's a woman that she understands that we must do something to expose and stop these programs of the weather modification. For whatever reason they are doing it, they are harming us. And she has a very good articulated explanation and proofs and documentation regarding why, first of all, these are happening, and also they've been doing it for a while, and what to do, how to stop them. We need to start to get involved. This is pretty much the purpose of the show. This is not just to entertain you or to freak you out or to give you some sort of a chills and try to, I don't know, like watching a movie. No, this is real. This is real, and that's why I'm here. My only goal, it is to try to share this information with you so together we can take action. Now, second part of the second hour, it was going to be about guns. This part, of course, it was supposed to be all about guns, but I had too much information to share, so we took a little bit extra time talking about this event, about this weather modification, geoengineering, chemtrails, whatever you want to do it, whatever you want to call it, event that we had in Mojave County, Arizona. Now, second part of this hour, we will talk about, first of all, the importance of the 50 caliber BMG rifle. People maybe say, what we really need a 50 caliber? But we will talk about it. And also, I would like to talk about a little bit some basic safety tips that we should all know, because they're very important. I don't care sometimes. I really think when we have a gun, we have a huge responsibility, and we must have with responsibility, with freedom comes responsibility. And I think it's always good to share some ideas and maybe refresh a little bit for the new gun owners, a little bit about gun safety. A couple of words I would like always to remember and remind our sponsor, the Colorado River Vapor. We have Colorado River Vapor. You can go also to lovegunsfreedom.com. There is a banner, Colorado River Vapor. They are in Fort Mojave and also in Bullhead City, Arizona. A great company, great service, great product. If you want to stop and quit smoking regular cigarettes, you should take a look into this. I think it's very exciting. And on top, if you live in the area, you can also come there. There is a great entertainment, music, live, and a lot of fun. So stay tuned. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. And don't forget, go to my website, zanna.us. Ciao.
GMN is killing communism, one show at a time.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
After inventing his delicious Polynesian hot sauce, Tahiti Joe wanted to make another gourmet hot sauce that his lady would enjoy.
After a wild, passionate weekend on the islands, he thought, wow, she's not only hot-blooded, she's also half Italian.
With that in mind, Tahiti Joe created a tropical-style garlic hot sauce his lady would crave.
Now, Tahiti Joe's Tropic Garlic Hot Sauce has become the #1 garlic hot sauce on the market.
Tahiti Joe and his sisters dedicated Tropic Garlic to their father because he's their big kahuna and it's his favorite.
All of our sauces are made with a beautiful array of ingredients with no preservatives added and are prepared with a tropical passion for that perfect balance of flavor and heat delivered directly to you.
www.tahitijoeshotsauces.com.
Visit WazooSurvivalGear.com, home of the Adventure Bracelet and other wearable survival kits today. For survival bracelets with all of the features you need for everyday challenges, with options for construction materials, individualization, and a wide range of utility features like fishhook, safety pin, whistle, cable ties, fire steel and striker blade, compass, and more. Meant to be disguised in your everyday life and ready whenever you need it. Don't forget to upgrade your Adventure Bracelet to include surgical tubing, first aid tinder fat packs, and a handcuff key. WazooSurvivalGear.com, survival bracelets, survival keychains, do-it-yourself kits, and more. Plus, if you donate $100 or more to the Guerrilla Media Network, we will send you one of Wazoo's wearable survival kits with a custom GMN nameplate as a reminder of our appreciation.
In a disaster, emergency relief, or constitutional crisis such as the ongoing battle at the Bundy Ranch, people want to pitch in, but not everyone can pack up and leave home. I'm Pete Santilli, and I can tell you firsthand from being on the ground at the Bundy Ranch that the standoff with the BLM was a victory, but the most critical phase we're in now is to hold the sacred freedoms we've seized back from a tyrannical federal government. People from all over the country are continuing to pour into the Bundy Ranch, and when they made their list of items needed to sustain their freedom, their priorities should have been as follows: food, water, and if necessary to defend their liberty, ammo. But let's face it, no matter how many people stand in defense of their God-given rights, no matter how many citizens stand in defense of our peaceful protesters, and no matter how much we can achieve together by defeating tyranny, we have to hold our ground and sustain our patriots with the necessities of life. That's why I've teamed up with Steve Shank's My Farm in a Box. Visit GuerrillaMediaNetwork.com/food to keep the food supply lines of liberty flowing to the patriots on the ground.
The Bill of Rights contains the first 10 amendments of our Constitution. They guarantee the specific freedoms Americans should know and protect. Our liberty depends on it. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be right back with an unforgettable way to remember one of your constitutional rights.
Your search engine is watching you, recording all your searches and creating a massive database of your personal information. That's creepy, but it doesn't have to be that way. Startpage.com is the world's most private search engine. Startpage doesn't store your IP address, make a record of your searches, or use tracking cookies, and they're third-party certified. If you don't like Big Brother spying on you, start over with Startpage. Great search results and total privacy. Startpage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Imagine your mom and dad are getting ready for bed. They pull back the covers and find a third party there. He announces, "I'm with the military and I'm sleeping here tonight." That shocking image of a third party in my parents' bed reminds me what the Third Amendment was designed to prevent. It protects us from being forced to share our homes with soldiers, a common demand in the days of our founding fathers. Third party, Third Amendment, get it? So if you answer a knock at your door and guys in fatigues demand lodging, tell them to dust off their copy of the Bill of Rights and reread the Third Amendment. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Infidel Body Armor, made in the USA, an Oath Keeper and disabled veteran-owned business in Texas, selling to U.S. patriots concerned about any type of ballistic threats when it hits the fan. Not just law enforcement and military. The engineers at Infidel have designed lightweight, wearable, and durable body armor with life-saving reliability, made with military-grade steel and capable of withstanding hit after hit from high-velocity, large-caliber rounds. From rapid deployment systems to tailored models, Infidel Body Armor has all the right gear, especially suited for any grid-down situation. Infidel body armor sold at a fraction of the typical cost for police and military gear, which is designed to be replaced after ballistic impact. Remember, in the middle of societal collapse, replacement ceramic and Kevlar will not be easily found. Infidel's armor combo with plate carrier, front and back plate start at $375. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/infidel to check out Infidel's body armor and make sure you let them know you heard about them on the Gorilla Media Network.
Nobel Prize winner Alexis Carrel, cell biology researcher, discovered a detoxified and nourished cell lives in a state of eternal youth. Clean cells will result in improved energy, mood, blood sugar, liver function, and skin health. Also, you can lose fat and keep or gain muscle and reduce or eliminate inflammation and more. To discover how to detoxify and nourish the 100 trillion cells of your body, call this free recorded message at 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047.
Final segment, Love, Guns, and Freedom, and we're talking right now about guns. In the second hour of Love, Guns, and Freedom, we have a special guest that I'm very proud and also to have with me. And it's funny because Facebook, I really start to realize that is a way to meet people in the virtual world, but also then getting through this virtual world and meeting the real world. And it's a gun owner. And this gentleman is not just a gun owner, but is also a professional that he does pretty much a great service, I think, in our community, especially here in Mojave County, training and sharing his information and education about to be a responsible gun owner. His name is Jim Liesen. Jim, did I say correctly your last name?
You sure did. Thank you.
Perfect. That's kind of an accomplishment then. Very good. Jim, first of all, please introduce a little bit yourself. I know that you have a lot of things to say about many different fields. You're not just a gun owner, so a professional in training. You also have other type of aspects. But let's focus on the gun part. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, Luca. I really appreciate that's a very gracious introduction. I'm just like everybody else. You know, I'm one of those guys that can't keep my mouth shut, so I like to talk in groups. But in terms of my firearms and shooting experience, I grew up around guns. I'm an outdoorsman. I hunted and fished, and Dad taught me how to do that sort of thing. And in college, I played around with competitive shooting, and I enjoyed that. But about 3.5 years ago, I suppose, I took a class out at Front Sight, and you and I both know about Front Sight.
Yes.
I took a class out there, and what I learned were several things. One, I had no idea how much I didn't even know. I thought I knew because I'd been around guns forever, but I really didn't know much about them. And I also learned that if you keep an open mind, you can learn a lot. And I think the biggest thing that I learned is that everybody knows something different about guns. I know people that are rifle guys, and they couldn't care less about pistols. I like to talk about combative handguns, but I don't know much about certain kinds of guns. So in this odyssey of learning, I've been certified in many different things. I teach Utah, CCW, law enforcement, that sort of thing, Arizona. I teach up in Nevada as well. But one of my biggest favorite things to talk about and teach has to do with basic firearm safety and how to use the gun properly and then therefore competently, because that starts everybody down the path of responsible gun ownership and really the beginning of a lifetime of hobby and to be able to protect themselves in a self-defense situation.
Very good, very good. And now just to remind everybody, you live exactly in Lake Havasu, Arizona, correct?
Yes, I do.
And you have a business also that you perform your services. It's Apex Arms.
That's right.
And
That's right.
Website, in case people want to see a little bit about what you offer.
Oh, I'd welcome anybody to go take a look. It's apexarmsaz.com, or they can just look up jimliesen.com. It'll show up, and I'm easy to find online. We specialize in beginning and intermediate firearms training for people who've either never seen a gun before and they might be terrified of them, all the way through to people like you and me that might have a bit more experience and more training. Perhaps you might need a tune-up, or you might have some idiosyncrasies about your trigger control you need help with. I can coach with that as well.
Perfect. I really appreciate it, because I really believe that, with freedom comes responsibility. Even in Arizona, we don't have any mandatory classes or CCW. We have, I think we are very blessed. We have the constitutional carry. Every law-abiding citizen is entitled to go and buy a gun privately or through a shop, and that's great. But also, it's our duty, I believe, to be always responsible and understanding that we are liable for every round that we shoot. So there is no excuse, and even if it's not mandatory, I really believe that we should spread this message of education and responsibility, and that's why we are here, and that's why I think why you're there, trying to help the community offering these services. Now, since we cannot shoot now, we cannot do any type of practical things, but I think we can have a good impact, at least try to spread some basic safety tips, that they are rules, they are not tips. They are, for me, like I live by, would be my life count on it, okay? And then I understand many gun owners maybe say, I already know all this stuff. Guess what? I'm sorry. Sometimes you think you know. I always say, I realize whenever I think I know everything, I don't know anything. And more important, we need to be humble, because this is not just a joke or some sort of something that could be, minor consequences. This is a real serious consequence. If you make a mistake, your life or somebody else's life is at peril. Now, I would like to go through with you, since I know that also you've been working at front sight as a coach line, and you know very well these basic firearm safety rules. I would like to go with you. You can comment on them. I go by exactly the front sight Nevada rules. First rule, treat every weapon as if it were loaded.
Word for word. You're absolutely right.
Go ahead. Please, let's articulate a little bit about that. Then I tell you what I think.
Well, you got the nail on the head. The number one rule of all guns is treat every single one of those every single gun as if it were loaded. And that means all the time. Even when you know it's not loaded, you check it anyway. Because how many times have we heard somebody say on the TV news, well, they accidentally shot themselves while cleaning the gun, or I didn't know it was loaded. You hear those kind of comments after shootings. That's because they didn't understand the number one rule, treat every gun, every weapon as if it were loaded.
Exactly. And, I'm sometimes very surprised. I go into some gun shops, and there are people that, of course, they've been around guns since they were kids, okay, even before I was born. And I feel so frustrated when I see all this muzzling. I don't care if the gun, I say, oh, it's empty. I don't care even if the chamber is open.
You're on number 2 already.
Exactly. So then we go now, of course, rule number 2. But the point is sometimes they forget that even if the gun is unloaded, and we already checked twice or 3 times, I want to live by the rule in a way that almost becomes extreme in a positive way. And and sometimes I realize that many people I know, some are also friends, we go into long, extensive conversation about it. They really need to follow this rule, in my opinion, at least when they are in front of me. Otherwise, I don't want to be around them. Okay, rule number 2. Never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. Let's talk about it.
Exactly. No, you hit it right on the head again. The muzzle is where the bullets come out. And when they come out, you can't stop them. You can no longer be in control of a bullet once you press that trigger and the gun goes bang. We like to teach people to pretend like there's a laser beam attached to the front of the gun. Wherever that laser beam touches, however far out it goes, maybe even a mile, that's where the bullet's going. So we have to always, 100% of the time, treat it like it's loaded and keep pointing that muzzle in a safe direction. I hear the same comments, and like you said, in a gun shop, you'll see people handle them incorrectly, and they say, but it's unloaded. I know it's unloaded. But what about safeties? What is a safety? A safety is a mechanical device that's ready to fail. And anybody that doesn't believe that, I guess, has never had to change a tire. A tire is just a mechanical device that failed.
Exactly.
Safeties can malfunction. Things can go wrong. Planning in advance for it to go wrong will prevent an accidental discharge. And once you know the rules, it's no longer an accident. It becomes a negligence issue.
And that's very sad, because first of all, I believe legally you're responsible, and also morally and ethically you're responsible. You have to live the rest of your life for your, between quotes, mistake. And so I tell you, we are humans, don't get me wrong. Nobody is going to be always perfect. But if you know the rule and you do not follow it, not because you forgot it, and there is no, of course, excuse even there, but for sure, just because you were negligent, then we have a problem, okay? Because I may be having a bad day, I may be having been sick, and at that point I would say stay away from the weapon. But still, if I have to go through, when I know that I'm doing something wrong, I must stop. That's, for me, there is no excuse there. That's my opinion. Now, rule number 3, keep your finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot.
Are you reading these, Luca? Because you got them down pat.
No, I got them like memorized.
Got it down. I'm impressed.
I do by memorization.
You must have been the front side at least one time, maybe
Oh,
two.
yeah, I got there, honestly, this last year, not many times, honestly, just a couple times, but normally the first year I used to camp out there with my truck.
Excellent.
And
Well, you got
squeeze
it right, too. And this is the biggest one that I have a hard time with what I call retraining new customers. I have clients, students, customers. They've handled a gun all their lives, and they've just always had their finger on the trigger, and they say it's not loaded, and I'm keeping the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. But there's two problems with it, and one is you've been trained your entire life to keep your finger on the trigger because that's what we saw on TV and movies since they were made.
Yes.
That's just the way we see it in life. So we've ingrained our muscle memory to put our finger in the wrong spot. I would urge everybody to look at soldiers, pictures of soldiers in uniform. You will see their fingers so straight and rigid, it almost looks like they have it in a finger cast, and it looks very not normal. That's how we want your finger. You want to be consciously keeping it away from the trigger, and here's why. If something were to happen, if somebody sneaks up behind you and you go, and somebody says, boo, your instant reflex, the physical things that happen to every human being are that you hunch down a little bit and your hands grasp, they squeeze together. And if your finger happens to be anywhere near that trigger guard and slips off the trigger guard, the whole hand's going to clench together, and that finger's going to land on the trigger and press.
Exactly.
You don't want that to happen. You know, they say there's two loudest sounds you'll ever hear in a gunfight. That's click when you expect a bang, and bang when you expect a click. So the way to solve that problem is observing rule number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot.
Very well stated, very well stated. Now, rule number 4. You must always be sure of your target and what's on the same line, in line with your target. So, let's articulate about that.
You know, most people think when they're at the range that the bullet just only goes to the end of the range. The bullets always get absorbed in that little puff of dust at the end of the berm. What they don't realize is that most every handgun bullet will travel for well over a mile. It's really, really important to realize that you are responsible for that bullet until it comes to rest, whether it's in what I like to call JoJo the crackhead or the berm or the target. Wherever you're shooting, you may have a malfunction, you may have a strange ammunition problem, it may go off course in flight, it may hit a tree branch and go in another direction. We have to be aware of what direction we're shooting because our bullets are attached to us liability-wise, and they don't stop until they come to rest wherever they land. It's really important to watch that backstop.
Exactly, very well said, because the point is very simple here. Even right now, for example, you're not training, you think you got your gun on your safe, or your little drawer close to your bedroom, and I tell you, you should train, because, you know, having one more than one gun in your safe doesn't make you a gun shooter, or at least it's a gunman. But at least you must really live by these rules. If we can at least accomplish one thing before even we go into the training part, these are probably one of the biggest causes of negligence and accidents that happen in America, because, you know, the crime is really going lower now. We have lowest level of crime since more guns out there in the hands of law-abiding citizens. But the problem that can happen, that negligence, there is no excuse. And unfortunately that creates or can create problems. That's the situation. Now, anything you would like to say about, you have any class coming pretty soon in Lake Havasu or Kingman?
Well, I do, Luke, and I appreciate you letting me say so. I hold several classes a month in the beginning and the intermediate levels, and I also hold most Thursdays and most Fridays open for bookings available if people need personal help or if they call. In fact, I just had a realtor call the other day, and he said, hey, I've got a whole staff of realtors that would like to take the concealed carry and basic defensive handgun class. Can we do it on a day? And my answer to that is, hey, as soon as we get 3 or 4 people in a group, we'll make that day happen to fit your schedule. So we're very available to people throughout the summer, throughout the winter months. We have a real classroom. We have real curriculum. We have real content in it, and we go out and shoot real guns at a real range.
Perfect. Where are you located exactly now? So you have like an headquarters?
I have an office and a classroom up on Upper McCulloch on Main Street. It's 2176 McCulloch Boulevard. Those people in Lake Havasu know it's in the ugly yellow and green building on McCulloch Boulevard.
Oh, I drove by there. I think it's exciting.
You know exactly where I am because of that hideous paint job.
Perfect. Next time I'll stop by to say hi then. And then I would like really to go shoot a couple rounds with you. I really need some...
That sounds fun. We're going out this afternoon, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you're going there. Unfortunately, this afternoon I'm still here stuck on the radio doing things, but we will do soon. Listen, I would like to say now at this point, I'm glad we talk a little bit about safety. The second part of this segment on Love, Guns, and Freedom, it's about rifle. I believe, in my opinion, that the handgun is pretty much a weapon that gives you the opportunity to fight your way to the rifle. And
exactly.
Mostly, it's something practical that you use to defend your person. But your rifle is the one that may defend your liberty one day. So I have chosen one rifle for this episode of Love, Guns, and Freedom that I wish in my dreams if I could idealize an America of law-abiding citizens that they understand the Constitution, they understand the Bill of Rights, they understand the respect for each other and for liberty. The rifle that I would like to have in every neighborhood, at least one, it's a 50 caliber. I don't care if it's a single shot, bolt action, or if you have a repeater, or if you have a semi-automatic. But not everybody can afford, 50 caliber. They are kind of the Rolls Royce.
I've been dreaming of buying one myself, but they're $10,000, aren't they?
$10,000, yes. If you go in the, let's say, the deluxe version of Barrett 82A1, we're talking about $9,000 at least. Now,
exactly.
How would you feel if I found a 50 caliber made in the USA? Top-notch quality. I mean, I have one in my hands, okay? I'm playing around, and today I will shoot it.
I'm getting excited. That sounds wonderful.
And it's made in USA. Simple. Also, I like it because you have different type of length, and if you go with the standard or the carbine, it's also light enough you can shoot from standing, believe it or not. And it's for the price probably that you could afford like a 308 semi-automatic fancy rifle. I'm talking about for less than $2,400. You can get
$2,400.
Yes, right now. By the way, this is not even a sponsor. Okay, I mean normally, of course, we are commercial. We try to make a living out of the show, but I like more important for me to share information, like I did with you today, or like I'm doing right now with Serbu. When I find very valuable information for our listeners, I don't care. I'm trying to give you the best information that I would like to have for you, law-abiding Americans. So this is a Serbu, Serbu.com. You can go there. This model that we are talking about is the single shot bolt action B like boy, F as Frank, G as golf 50, BFG 50. And it's amazing. I like the way it really locked and the way the action of the bolt is so smooth. And there are three different type of models. You have, first of all, the standard rifle. That is exactly $23. This is about their list price. Maybe you can find also for cheaper. Talking about $2,400, okay? And you have a barrel of 29.5 length. And you can add the bipod. And I tell you, I shot a couple rounds. It's accurate. I put a great scope there. I can shoot 500 yards headshots on the regular body type targets without any type of special training, just to have a good zero scope and to do the basic rifleman, steps. And then the beautiful thing, this one at 1,000 yards, if there is no excessive wind, you can keep your group within 40 inches. No problem. No problem.
Oh my, really?
So I was very excited, and I will do a special YouTube just of this one because, seriously, people say, why do you need a 50? I mean, what do you really want to go shooting at a grizzle?
Well, because when you need a 50, you need a 50.
Exactly. That's my point. And I want
nothing else. When you need a 50, that's the only thing that'll do the job.
Yes. And the point, I said in my little post, I like to post this idea on YouTube. And I tell you, on Facebook, it gave me inspiration. Because interacting with people, I like to find always inspiration about things to say, because it's a way also to communicate about, I always believe that 50 caliber is so far for civilians, because we are civilians, we are not army people or police. It's still the most powerful tool we have to defend our freedom. Because especially now, think about it. I'm not here trying to advocate any violence or try to advocate any type of conspiracy. I'm talking about facts. When we know that we have, for example, FEMA that officially signed an agreement with the Russian military a few months ago that in case of any type of national emergency, we will have Russian troops keeping us safe, or we have Chinese troops right now stationed in Hawaii doing joint exercises with our soldiers, and most of our soldiers, unfortunately, they're overseas. I start to feel a little worried about when I see Homeland Security having few billions rounds of ammunition and we have thousands of armored vehicles unleashed in our streets. What do you think about that?
Well, like I said before, when you need a 50, you need a 50.
I agree. And I have a little phrase, MasterCard advertisement. I did my own little MasterCard 50 cal advertisement. 150 BMG round, about $4. Depends what you get. 150 BMG rifle Serbu, bolt action, let's say $2,500. Being able to defend freedom, priceless. That's priceless.
You got it. Oh, I love that.
And you know what? Also, it's fun. Seriously. I make my choices. I'm not a rich guy. I work for a living, but I make my priority, okay? And I know for many people, they like to go maybe to Hawaii, or they like to go to cruises. They like to buy a new car every 6 months. I give up on these things. I am more into buying maybe a rifle every 6 weeks, okay? So that's pretty much my money where I put. I enjoy them. It's something for me also is cultural. I look at that like a part of mechanics, you see the brain of a human being, how it can develop beautiful things. And as I said, this is a tool. This is nothing bad or nothing good. This is about a tool that depends the person. The person is going to make it something to defend freedom and to defend life, or to make it something like evil. Like could be a hammer, like could be a knife. You can cut bread with a knife, or you can kill somebody. So I believe the 50 is for me. It's like it was a dream a few years ago before I got mine, and now to be able to shoot it, and it's like smoking cigar. I don't smoke many cigars every day like people who smoke cigarettes, but when I smoke my cigar, I enjoy every second, especially for dollars around.
One of the neat things about a 50, for people who haven't shot one, is that when you press off a shot with a 50, and you're laid out prone, and you got your bipod set up, and you're at the range, and maybe you're on an AstroTurf or a shooting pad, when you press off that shot, and all of a sudden this rolling ball of dust just expands away from the muzzle in almost all directions, all downrange about 50 or 70 feet. Oh, that's a feeling that's hard to describe.
Yes, and also I like the fact when you shoot at 1,000 yards, you shoot, and you're able to take your eye off the scope, and you still have the time. It only takes probably about
a few seconds. And wait for it,
and you see that it's kind of amazing. So maybe maybe what I should do, when I come next time, I come down to Havasu, maybe I should bring the Serbu, and we can shoot a couple rounds. We have a little fun. That would be something.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I don't know where to go shoot that far. We'll have to find a spot where we can shoot that far.
Don't you have at the range a 1,000 yard range down there?
We have a 300-yard range, and it's a wonderful range. It's a terrific facility, but it's when that 50 goes off, it's going to go ding as fast as that recoil goes, because it's only 300.
That's fine. Listen, we can also shoot normally what at zero. I zero my every rifle at 25 yards, and then I verify my zero at 250 yards.
Sure.
So we can do that too. But I tell you, if you ever come then to Sportsman Club, Mojave Sportsman Club here in that we have a beautiful 1,000 yard range. And it's very amazing because, I like to shoot my 50 on a safe environment. I know we have a lot of open land here and it's legal, I understand that, but I want to be sure that there is too much distance to control the environment. You know what I mean? I'm not shooting like at 100 yards. I can see the backstop. 1,000 yards, let's say an ATV or somebody by accident shows up, that would be way too much risky for my opinion. As a gun owner, I don't like to risk it like that, So I like to go to the range for that type of rifle. Listen, I really appreciate you being with us, and please don't be a stranger. I always like share valuable information. Maybe we can call each other a few more times. I would love that. And
my pleasure. I really appreciate the invitation.
Thank you very much. Okay, so stay tuned. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, and you were here with Luca Zanna and Jim Liesen.
RadiationDefender.com, your source for the Health Ranger's most important product to date, Cesium Eliminator. Developed by food science researcher Mike Adams, this patent-pending proprietary formula of zeolites and other ingredients called Cesium Eliminator helps support your body's natural elimination of lethal cesium isotopes. Visit RadiationDefender.com and discover why Cesium Eliminator is designed to stop irradiating your body from the inside out by removing cesium-137, a cancer-causing radioactive isotope which will contaminate our soil for the next 200 to 300 years. After Fukushima, Fear Potion potassium iodide salesmen rode the plume and sold products which do absolutely nothing to rid the body of harmful radiation after this nuclear disaster. If you are interested in removing cesium from your body, throw away your potassium iodide and replace it immediately with Cesium Eliminator. Go to RadiationDefender.com and order your supply today.
Hello, this is Steve Shank. Why do police go undercover and why do countries send out spies? Simple. If you can guess from intelligence what the other guy is doing, you have the battle won before it starts. Let's see what intelligence we have about your food situation. We're having the worst disasters ever. Storms, earthquakes, floods, and terrible drought. Half our population needs food stamps and other subsidies to afford their food now. Prices have just hit their all-time high, with more terrible cost coming. Your food and now your water are being sold to other starving countries. Still, 1/3 of our corn goes to expensive gas instead of feeding livestock and people. What few dollars you have, China expects to devalue to uselessness. If you explained this food disaster we're in right now to your best friend, what would you expect them to do? You'd want them to get all the food they can while they still can.
Make the most intelligent decision of your life. Visit GorillaMediaNetwork.com/food to learn more about My Farm in a Box.
Aloha, this is Tahiti Joe, the maker of Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces and the Maui Pepper Company.
The saga of Tahiti Joe's hot sauces is a very tasty story. Tahiti Joe went exploring the South Seas for the spices and was easily sidetracked, but don't tell his lady.
Then, after a few months, Tahiti Joe blended a beautiful array of spices with clam juice and honey.
It had a sweet tropical flavor, and with the heat of the peppers, it reminded him of the islands.
Tahiti Joe had to name the new sauce, and Tahiti Joe's Hot Sauces was born. Try it as a chicken wing sauce.
Barbecue, marinade,
or use it to create a delicious Polynesian Mary.
So, visit www.TahitiJoesHotSauces.com today to satisfy your cravings for
tropical taste sensation.
www.TahitiJoesHotSauces.com.
A double-blind study showed that individuals with abdominal obesity who took 300 milligrams of this one supplement for 8 weeks had a significant reduction in abdominal body fat and body weight. Those who took the supplement lost 5 times the amount from their waistline compared to those who took a placebo. Find out what supplement it is and the best source of it by calling and listening to this free recorded message at 866-844-1047. That's 866-844-1047. 866-844-1047.
If you enjoy the outdoor life or are preparing for any type of emergency, then you will need the world-renowned Kelly Kettle. The Kelly Kettle is an outdoor camp stove and kettle used to boil water ultra-fast. The Kelly Kettle is the original water boiling kettle that works ultra-fast using only sticks and twigs or whatever else you find that will burn. Don't waste your precious resources on heavy batteries and fuels. For over 100 years, this unique kettle has made boiling water in the outdoors quick and easy, even in the most extreme weather conditions. Whether you are cooking or boiling, you will appreciate the compact, lightweight design, super reliability, and a rugged durability that will last a lifetime. If your life depended on the features of an outdoor pro at a casual camper price, you would go to www.kellykettleusa.com. Enter Pete10 for 10% off whichever Kelly Kettle size fits you or your family best.
The Bill of Rights contains the first 10 amendments of our Constitution. They guarantee the specific freedoms Americans should know and protect. Our liberty depends on it. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be right back with an unforgettable way to remember one of your constitutional rights.
Your search engine is watching you, recording all your searches and creating a massive database of your personal information. That's creepy, but it doesn't have to be that way. Startpage.com is the world's most private search engine. Startpage doesn't store your IP address, make a record of your searches, or use tracking cookies, and they're third-party certified. If you don't like Big Brother spying on you, start over with Startpage. Great search results and total privacy. Startpage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Imagine 4 eyes staring at you through binoculars, a magnifying glass, or a pair of X-ray goggles. That imagery reminds me that the Fourth Amendment guarantees Americans freedom from unreasonable search and seizure. Fourth Amendment, 4 eyes staring at you, get it? Unfortunately, the government is trampling our Fourth Amendment rights in the name of security. Case in point, TSA airport scanners that peer under your clothing. When government employees demand a peep at your privates without probable cause, I say it's time to sound the constitutional alarm bells. Join me in asking our representatives to dust off the Bill of Rights and use their googly eyes to take a gander at the Fourth. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at catherinealbrecht.com.
GMN is the alternative to alternative media.